Bishop, good to see you.
Good to be here again.
Recently, you were part of a team of bishops that put out a statement on how we detain immigrants in this country who we consider to be illegal or undocumented. Why did the bishops feel that they had to say something about this at this time?
Well, we have been visiting the sites actually in all parts of the country. I visited a couple here on the East Coast, and we could see that the detention of people who are not criminals is not a good thing to do for a long period of time. Basically, we would say that our country feels it's a deterrent for people coming, because if they know if they get caught, they're going to be detained in a prison, basically. Some of them are actually in prisons. Some of them are being housed by for-profit prison operators. Others are in immigration detention centers, which are fewer now since they've contracted it out. And the worst part is when we're keeping families and children in prison. And what do the children know that they've done? So it's not a good deterrent, and it's certainly not a humanitarian way to deal with people that for many reasons are coming to this country looking for a better life. Some of them fleeing persecution, some of them looking for a better economic situation, but we could do better than that as a country.
Yeah. What did you see when you went to some of these sites yourself? Did you get a chance to actually talk to some of the detainees?
Yes, we did. It's rather a depressing situation, you know, because if you're a criminal or did something wrong, well, you kind of know you're paying for your sins or your error. But these people, most of them, the way our border operates, people, you know, it's just like coming over, crossing over. They don't really see the wrong they've done, and they feel this is a severe punishment, and there's a lot of depression in the people that we do meet.
Mm-hmm. What do you think the feeling is among the general population about immigrants? The feeling of the bishops doesn't seem to be filtering down to the general population.
Well, I think it may not be completely correct. I think the surveys that have been done, and when people are asked, do you think these people should be legalized? Overwhelmingly, yes. Should they have a path to citizenship? Overwhelmingly, yes. Again, not overwhelmingly, like 60-40, something like that. Mm-hmm. Well, that's pretty substantial. So people do understand the problem, but there is a vocal minority that is for a very negative attitude towards immigrants. My pitch always is that these people come here to work. They come for a better life, but they want to work for it. Mm-hmm. And they are working. You don't find them pitching tents in the parks because they have no place to live. Mm-hmm. They're living in apartments, sometimes doubling up, tripling up, but they are paying rents. Some of them, if they're here long enough, they're going to buy homes. So they're integrated into the life of the country through their labor, but they don't have the benefit of their labor. They don't have status. Mm-hmm. So that's the key thing. We have to understand that people would not come if there wasn't this draw for work. It was clear during the downturn of the 09 and 08, less people came. The border, they didn't have any people coming across because there was no work. Mm-hmm. They knew. Usually they get a call from a relative saying, hey, come here because there's work. Mm-hmm. So that's what we have to understand, the motivation of why these people come, what they do when they're here. They're not criminals. They're not, part of a plot to undermine the country. We have to recognize that this is something we have to legally control, because immigration, undocumented immigration, is not good for the country. It's not good for the people. The church is not for open borders for anybody who decides they want to coming. But let's regularize the system so that we can accommodate family unification and legitimate work needs.
If the government wants to take a look at somebody's status, what would you see as an alternative to detaining them?
Well, there are the alternative programs where they are put into nonprofit organizations that have counselors that work with the people, help them get housing. They have to have work permits to work until their case comes up. But because they develop a positive relationship with those people that are helping them, 95% do show up for their hearings. Mm-hmm. Whereas, you may have 100% if you keep them in prison, but it's much more expensive. not as humane to do. So that's what we're advocating for, detention of non-criminal aliens in open situations where they can live a decent life awaiting their case hearing.
Great. Bishop, thanks so much for being with us today.
Okay.